Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here with you today on the Big Africa podcast. I'm Bamai Namata, and today I'm talking about something that many of us don't like talking about, something that many of us shy away from. That something is insecurity. Insecurity is such a big deal nowadays. With the rise of social media, with the rise of different forms of communication, it's such a big and prevalent issue that many of us suffer from. Of course, there are so many causes, so many ways that this manifests itself, and of course, also many other ways to fix it. And in this episode, these are some of the things I'll be talking about. Stick with me, and you'll be able to hear all about this and all my thoughts on insecurity and how to be able to build your confidence towards prosperity. Insecurity, such a big part of our lives, but something we shy away from, like I said earlier. What are the causes of insecurity? You would ask yourself. Insecurity definitely starts from a tender age. As people, we are born as blank slates. We are born with no knowledge of self, with no knowledge of anything. And over time, we get to have this knowledge. We get to experience different things that grooms us, that programs us into who we become later in life. And that starts right with our parents. Our parents, what they tell us. Are they the types of parents that criticize every single thing you do, that are very harsh on you, instead of being constructive and enabling you to grow up and be groomed as a proper person, as a person with confidence? Do you have those type of parents? And also, do you grow up with friends who their everyday is all about pulling back on your confidence, telling you about all the things you do wrong, telling you about how you could be better, or doing different things that make it difficult for you to look at yourself in a positive way, for you to build up on your self-worth? If you have those type of friends, it's really difficult to be able to build up on that self-confidence, and it really drains your self-esteem. Another big cause of insecurity is the fact that we compare ourselves to others. And nowadays, with the rise of social media, it's such a big deal. This is such a big part of our lives nowadays. We compare ourselves to others. What is this friend of mine doing nowadays? What is this former classmate of mine doing nowadays? Do they have a child? Do they have a car? Do they have a house? We compare ourselves in so many different ways. And this is a big issue. It causes a lot of insecurity, because at the end of the day, you look at yourself as inadequate. You look at yourself, I don't have this car, I don't have a car, I'm walking on foot, I'm walking to places, or I have a bicycle, so I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough like this other person who has a car. It makes life difficult for us. And it's even so bad, even the person who has a car, for example, you may have a Toyota Corolla, and then the next person has a bigger car, a Toyota Prado, for example, and you'd look at that person and you'd say, "Whoa, that person is doing far better than I am. It's more important than me. It's bigger than me." But then you lose sight of the bigger picture, and this regularly comparing ourselves with other people makes it really difficult for us to build our self-esteem, to build our confidence. Another big cause of insecurity is, and this is a big thing nowadays, is that as people, especially as people who grew up in poverty, or people who grew up with a lot of lack, who grew up with parents who did not have a lot, who had to struggle for every meal, or who had to struggle to pay school fees, we associate our self-image to financial means. We think because we do not have as much money or as much financial means to pay for stuff, to take care of ourselves and our families, we associate that with not being good enough. And that on its own is such a big part of insecurity nowadays. And it's a problem that many of us have to solve. Later on in the video, I'll be talking about how we can fix some of these things. But what are some of the ways that this insecurity manifests itself in? How does it show out in the world? How does it show for you as an individual, as a professional, or in your relationship, or at home? It shows in different ways. And the first way is it makes you unable to ask for what you really want. It makes you unable to ask for what you need. So, for example, if you're in an office and you've been offered a job, and that job comes with with a specific salary range. For most times, you would always settle for less. You will not ask for what you're worth. You will not say no. What is offered to you, for example, let's say you're offered $500 to do a specific job, but that job could be paid maybe 2 times more. You won't have you won't ask you won't ask for more. You won't advocate for yourself and say, no, I'm worth more. I have all these skills and these experiences, so I should be paid more. So you will not be able to ask for what you're really worth, and this creates a situation where a lot of times you may be exploited by different employers, by your peers, and this is, as you may know, this is a really difficult situation. And it also goes even in relationships. Your partner or your wife, your girlfriend, you would not be able to ask for what you want. You will not be able to request and get the respect, the love that you as an individual desires. You may give and give and give, but you will not be able to ask for what you deserve in return, which would make your life really, really difficult and really complicated. Another way that this insecurity manifests itself around the world in Africa is sycophancy. That's a big word, but it just really means you become a yes man. You become a yes person. You cannot say no to others, or in even worse cases, you do bootlicking, like they say. If you see someone who you think is better than you, you've mentally placed that person above you, and every day you're bowing down and saying, yes, my Lord, yes, please tell me what to do, my Lord, because I am not worthy. That is sycophancy, and that is a big killer of dreams. Nowadays, we have so many young people with so many ideas, with so many things that they want to do, but at the end of the day, their insecurities would put them in a place where they would look at someone else that they think is better than them, and then they end up forgetting all about their own ideas, all about their own thoughts, and then they go and bow down to that person. I'm not saying you should not be respectful of people, or of your elders, or of people that have achieved, but at the end of the day, you're a human being and you have your own ideas. Even if, of course, you're working with other people, you're respectful, but at the end of the day, you have to keep your own ideas. Another way that in this insecurity it manifests itself in people in general is about low confidence. Low confidence in yourself, low confidence in your abilities, low confidence in your capacity. This is such a difficult thing to deal with because low confidence, if you don't have confidence in yourself, it shows in every part of your life, both professionally, personally, in so many ways. You're talking to people, and someone can look at you and know that this person is not confident in what you're saying. You're not showing the right emotions. You're slouching. You're not able to look at people in the eye and share your ideas and share your thoughts. That is low confidence, and it's such a big part of insecurity, and it makes things very difficult. It makes you as a person not being seen as authoritative, as being a leader. And even in the professional space, you would have a hard time being promoted to senior leadership positions, because, of course, those who are promoted to those types of positions are people that are assertive, people that ask for what they want, people that are seen as leaders, that can lead groups, that can look you in the eye and express their ideas and tell you what they need and ask for what they need. Those are just some of the ways that this insecurity manifests itself, but there are many more. And this is such a serious issue that it's something that has to be dealt with. Like I said, these insecurities manifest themselves in so many ways, but there are ways to fix this. There are ways for you to live from insecurity to confidence, and ultimately to more prosperity for yourself, for your family, and for your community. Firstly, you have to start from the basic. You have to basically reparent yourself. You have to look at the job that your parents and your peers that you grew up with, look at the job that they did on you and undo that. you have to become your own parent and treat yourself the way that your parents could not treat you. You have to sit back and look at all of these issues that were done. Did you have overbearing parents that killed your confidence by telling you that you were not enough, by being very hard on you instead of being encouraging? You have to come back and look at all that and say, wow, this is the situation that I had to deal with. This is the type of parent I had. This is the type of auntie or uncle that I had who was such a big drain on my confidence, who told me I would never be anything in life, who did all these negative things that brought me down. But now I'm an adult. I can no longer give excuses for these people who are no longer in charge of my life. I'm taking charge and I'm doing what is necessary to improve myself, to do better for myself, to look at my strengths. You have to look at your strengths and tell yourself, I'm good. I'm putting in the work. I have all these strengths. I've been able to do this and this and this. You know, sometimes for me, when I'm really feeling down, I actually pull up my CV, a really detailed CV where I've been able to write all the different things I've done through my life, and I read all that. And at the end of the day, I look at that and I'm like, wow, am I the person that did all this? Am I the person that did all this? And I'm saying, yes, you are the person that did all this. You're great. You're amazing. You can do a lot more than you're doing now. You are that person. And that is one way to do it, but there are many, many more ways to be able to build your confidence, to tell yourself that you're worthy, and that you can go beyond some of the negative upbringing that you had. Another way to be able to fix the insecurity that you suffer with as a person is basically close to what I talked about earlier, to reparent yourself, but it's about gaining clarity about who you are. Tell yourself and to be very clear about who you are as a person, to know your strengths, to know your weaknesses, to know the things that can be threats to you and things that can bring you down. You have to know this about yourself, because at the end of the day, you are an individual with different skills, different capacities, different strengths. So you have to know who you are, and this involves basically you sitting down with a pen and paper or your phone and opening up a document and writing it down. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? And you're able to list them out very clearly to understand who you are. There are a lot of online platforms where you can be able to do this, and they're able to give you a very detailed result that can be useful to you. They're able to ask you different questions to understand your personality, to understand who you are, and then give you these results. And I use quite a few myself. There are so many different ones that you can be able to access online, and these tools are really, really useful to tell you who you are. Who are you as a person? What is your personality? And of course, they will need a lot of data that they will get from you, but at the end of the day, you'll be able to look at the different elements and say, wow, I'm strong here, I'm weak here. And with that knowledge of knowing that I'm strong in one place, I'm weak in one place, what can I do? At the end of the day, you have to sit and see how to capitalize more on those strengths. How do you use those strengths to gain even more success, while making sure that, okay, the places where I'm weak, you're able to find the people that you can work with to fill the gaps of those weaknesses. Of course, other people try to improve those weaknesses as well. But at the end of the day, you have to capitalize on your strengths. Who are you? What are you strong in? And how do you make sure that these strengths are, at the end of the day, they are being used to the maximum, to the max that you can use them to give you the best result for your life? To give you those successes that at the end of the day, you look at those successes and they will help you to become more confident, because you look at yourself as a capable person, as a skilled person. Another way that you can be able to deal with your insecurity is basically to decouple yourself from money, from financial means. And like I talked about earlier, one of the big things that bother a lot of us nowadays is that we take our self-worth and then we merge it with money. We merge it with financial means. So if we don't have money, we don't have financial means, we think, oh, we are not good enough. But at the end of the day, you have to separate the two. You have to separate the two if you are to function very well in this world of today. In this world where today you can have money, tomorrow you may not have, or tomorrow or today your business may be doing well, tomorrow your business may crumble, or tomorrow you have to start another thing. It's a world of so much uncertainty, so much that we don't know, so much that is out of our control. And that is why we have to decouple ourselves. We have to separate ourselves away from our money, away from what we have as a person, or away from what our family has. You have to understand that you as a person have a certain level of worth that goes beyond money, that goes beyond any financial means, that goes beyond the clothes you wear, that goes beyond the cars you drive, or that goes beyond what your father does or what your mother does. You have worth as a person. And that worth is something that is not tied to any material thing. And if you understand that, you will understand that as a person, you are worthy. No matter how how you're dressed, you're in the room, your ideas are important. Share them with the world. No matter who your father is, even if your father was a poor carpenter, or your father was the governor or the president of whatever, nobody's ideas are better than yours. Yours is important, and you're worthy, and you're important. It is important for you to share what you have with the world, no matter the amount of financial means, and to make sure that you separate these two things, to give yourself that confidence, to give yourself that knowledge of the fact that I am worthy as a person. And that will help you to reduce the insecurities that you've suffered, especially for people who grew up in poverty, for people who grew up in a lot of difficult situations. That is really, really important. I hope that has been helpful. But at the end of the day, you have to remember you have worth as a person. Your worth is not tied to anything financial or material. Your ideas are important. As a person, you are who you are. You've come from where you've come from, and it's from that base that you have to build to even bigger things. And even if at the end of the day some of the things you try do not work out, you are still important. Your ideas are still important. You are not a failure. And those are just some of the ideas that you can use to fight insecurity and to build your confidence. I'll be happy to continue this conversation even more. Please let me know if you appreciated this, if the message resonated with you, and share your thoughts in the comments, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with you to continue more of this, and of course to discuss more about how we as people could come together to make sure that we are building our prosperity personally and those of our community, and ultimately building the prosperity of Africa. Thank you very much for being here, for watching or listening, and this has been the Big Africa Podcast. I'm Bamai Namata, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.